everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another Redmond Roundup. I've got a better setup, which is why the lighting is significantly better than what it has shown in the past. And the past is definitely a concurrent topic for this video based on the fact that I haven't uploaded for 2 weeks. So I haven't seen you since the past, and I hope everyone's well. I hope the new year has started grand for everyone, and I suppose I'm back to here to do videos and talk a lot of SHIT on football. But first of all, I do wish everyone's okay. Families are okay, health is all good, and you're making money, because I suppose that's where most problems come from. And on top of that as well, if you're a Liverpool fan, let me know what you think about the most recent transfer window in the comments down below, as that is what we're going to talk about today. But we're not just going to talk about the Liverpool January transfer window, we're going to touch on other teams too. But I feel like with being a Liverpool fan, I'm not a very happy one at the moment. And going into the January transfer window, we was 7th, 8th, 9th, really, really bad in the table. And we are no better post-January. But we have heard things from Neil Jones suggesting, okay, we're going to go and buy 3 midfielders in the summer. Or he said 2 midfielders and possibly more on top of that. So that would be needed. Liverpool need more than just 2 midfielders. They need 3 or 4, in my opinion. But we never gone and got any of those in January, which is what makes me think it's going to be 2. So let's get into it, because this is about the January transfer window, not the next one. We signed Gakpo, and nothing else happens. The way I sort of gave it to I was on Saeed's channel yesterday. Shout out to Saeed, and he asked me the question, why are Liverpool going out and getting a winger when you need a midfielder? Yeah, say if you have a test and you need a pencil and a rubber on the end of it, but I give you a pen, I'm giving you something that you can use right now, something that you may need later on. There might be another part of the test where you might need a pen, or it will require black ink only. However, if you use a pencil and you're drawing, you need to be able to rub that out. So although I've gave you a pen, which can help you in the long term, it's not going to help you in the short term, because you need a pencil right here and right now. So Gakpo is the pen, the midfielder is the pencil, and we're still yet to receive the pencil. Therefore, we're less likely to achieve the goal that we're trying to achieve on our test, which in Liverpool's case is top 4. In Liverpool's case, it's just a mini resurgence, maybe even winning the Champions League. If Liverpool went out, and listen, I know we're not Chelsea, and we're not going to go out and buy 10 players, but if Liverpool went out and just shown even a little bit more urgency, got that 1 midfielder and Gakpo, then I think that gives a little bit of glimpse and hope and promise to you potentially at least being able to compete on a European front this season, because I don't think Liverpool will win the Champions League. In fact, I think it's very leaning towards City this year. People can feel free to disagree, but genuinely, guys, I just think with how quiet they are for the league and the fact it doesn't look like they're going to win in any of the other competitions like the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, I think all their focus will now go in the Champions League, and that, my friends, will be possibly the most exciting season for Manchester City to this point if they didn't win the league but won the Champions League. So I think they're going to win it. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try, and Liverpool, in my opinion, just haven't tried. And how come they haven't got a midfielder? Of course, there'll be external circumstances. I know it's not just easy, like career mode, to go out and buy a player. But in my opinion, it doesn't matter. There's been plenty of transfer windows of neglect. And people say to me, oh, but James, you're playing the victim card, but Liverpool spent hundreds and hundreds of millions. Okay, if you want to compare us to the rest of the teams in Serie A, La Liga, and although fair enough, fine. I'm not comparing us to those teams. I'm comparing us to the teams in the Premier League. And when I see Aston Villa, who are richer and more ambitious, Wolves, who are richer and more ambitious, Everton, who are richer but just also very, very stupid, along with the rest of the teams in the Big Six, you can now include Newcastle in that bunch as well. We're falling behind in the pecking order in terms of financial power and power as a whole of what we possess. Because Liverpool as a name and as a brand can only go so far when you have somebody as little power, or who has as little power as FSG. That's the main thing for me right now. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But I do think we are going to continue to fall behind in the pecking order unless Gakpo finally works out, Núñez works out, and then whoever we bring in midfield works out, because these are the signings that need to. The reason why we were so good last time was because we bought Salah, worked out Mane, worked out Gini, worked out Virgil, worked out Alisson, worked out Robertson, worked out Fabinho, worked out... Every player worked. That's very rare. The only players that didn't work was the ones who were coming in as a backup. So now we need to be a lot more precise when it comes to who we sign. And we need to be a lot more precise about the depth that we go into a season with. And then the January transfer window, guess what, mate? Doesn't matter. Really does not matter. Don't have to bring in anyone. Just do what you need to do. So that's the way it is. Out of 10, I'm going to give it a 3. Don't think we've covered any of the holes of which we needed. I don't think a new centre-back would have hurt it. Wasn't super necessary. But if we're talking about the perfect window, I think a defender, a midfielder and an attacker probably wouldn't be asking for too much based on recent transfer windows. That's just my opinion. But let's talk about other teams. Because I didn't like Liverpool's. Chelsea's very, very good. Graham Potter came out recently saying you probably shouldn't expect to see Chelsea go out and buy more players in the next couple of transfer windows, or they won't sign the same amount of volume of players. They were just kind of changing the whole squad. Someone put a really funny comment that, like, they're using the rest of Roman Abramovich's money and then they're going to go ahead and start using Todd Bowley's, which, if it's the case in some sort of way, if there's a way that Roman Abramovich has left money in the club and that's what they're using, that's hilarious to me. But they have needed a squad revamp, and this is exactly what Chelsea have needed. It's what I am dreaming of for Liverpool right now, is just a bunch of new players with a new incentive, a new element of something to prove. When Chelsea was signing Sterling and Aubameyang, these guys who, Aubameyang won an FA Cup for Arsenal, Sterling's won 4 league titles for City. There's not really an incentive, yet they are, I suppose, winners. But there's nothing to prove. They've already established themselves. People know they, in their prime, were world class. So they were weird signings to me. But when I see Enzo Fernandez, when I see Mudryk, I see something different being built. They are obviously more expensive, but they seem more like Graham Potter signings. They're the type of players that he'd probably sign for Brighton if Brighton identified those players first. And that's why I think it's probably going to work out for Graham Potter and Chelsea. And listen, people can call them scumbags. FFP is the way it is. If you are a businessman and you're not going to maximise it, you're stupid as a businessman. And furthermore, the same way that people try and, put as many things on that they can not avoid tax, but, it goes back into your business. They're just trying to save money. It's a very simple premise. And to not get involved with financial fair play, they're giving all these players long-term contracts. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, listen, Chelsea fans, let me know what you think of your window. Let's move on to United. I feel like a lot of United fans would be curious for me to talk about theirs. Weghorst and Sabitzer. And I'm not sure if you signed anyone else from the top. Jack Butland as well. Listen, it's improved the squad. Is it amazing? No. But is it better than what you had going into it? Yes. Eriksen got an injury. You always knew that could have been a possibility, and you replaced him. And it's funny, it took Manchester United a day to replace Eriksen. It took us 3 years to replace Gini, and we still haven't done it. People will say Thiago, but that was never a like-for-like change for Gini, not a chance. But that window in itself is good. You replace players who got injured. I don't know why you brought in Jack Butland. Maybe Tom Heaton is just now really, really shit. And to even trust him as being a backup is something that Ten Hag isn't willing to do. And now you've brought in Jack Butland, who we've been linked with when he was in his prime. Just think, if we never got Alisson, Jack Butland was actually the goalkeeper that we would try and get. We were strongly linked with him when we got Alisson, which was crazy. But yeah, man, United done what they needed to do. It was an efficient window. And Ten Hag, getting them to a Carabao Cup final, getting them more consistent in the league, has shown nothing but efficiency. Whether you like United or you don't, you've just got to sit there and say the way their football club is being run from a coaching point of view has been absolutely sensational. The way he's handled Sancho, the way he's handled various other players. And of course, you've got the whole Greenwood stuff now where he could be coming back. So that just adds a different factor, I suppose. So from a United standpoint, I'll give their window a 7 out of 10. Not an spectacular, but done what you needed to do. And more. Arsenal, Trossard, they nearly signed Casado, of course. The crazy signing was Jorginho. I like that signing. When Arsenal can go out there and just do a fuck you signing like Jorginho, that's quality. And whether it works out or not isn't the key premise, but he's not going there to be a starter. He's not going to play above Xhaka with the way. I've watched Arsenal nearly as much as Liverpool this season, at least in Premier League. In the Premier League, I watch Arsenal nearly every week. I enjoy their football that much. Granit Xhaka's been unbelievable. Partey has been unbelievable, and Jorginho is just there to accommodate those if they're not available. And I can't wait to see how he does there, doing a little, him and Saka fighting for a penalty first of all, and then him doing the little hop skip to try and get there. That's going to be an intriguing signing to see. And, was it a weird one? Yes. But do I think it benefits Arsenal? Of course. It doesn't hurt them at all. to have that player as an acquisition, and that's why I look forward to it. I look forward to the storyline of him winning the Champions League with Chelsea and then the Premier League with Arsenal. Yeah, it's weird the way that London clubs just share their players like there's no tomorrow. I suppose it's because it's in London, so the player doesn't mind moving, and clubs know that they can take advantage of that because players want to stay in London, but it just happens so frequently where you're like, whoa. So Arsenal, for me, are going to get a nice solid 7.5. Now, do you know what? An 8. I think Trossard was a great signing, and Jorginho was smart, what you needed. And I think Eddie Nketiah has proven to be like a really, really good striker as well in the absence, so you didn't need to get a backup. And even on top of that, you've got Balogun, who's out in the French league doing amazing, by the way. I think he's the top goal scorer in the French league. Arsenal squad is scary at the moment. And then lastly, Manchester City. I suppose you've got Spurs as well. City, they let go of Cancelo. I can't really think of anyone they brought in from the top of my head. But letting go Cancelo was a weird one, you know. It was only a couple of months ago where I was told that he was a better attacking fullback than Trent. Didn't see the correlation, understood he was world class, but never understood the correlation. And yeah, I don't know. I've seen him had many shit defensive performances, never held to the same energy as Trent. And I would suggest that Cancelo is certainly no better of a defender than Trent is. I've seen Salah take him on plenty of times. He's made Salah look like Messi in instances, like last year when Salah scored that world-class goal. It all started from Cancelo's side. And, you know, he's always been one of the main culprits of letting goals in for Manchester City. And if he's going to be showing complacency, Pep Guardiola is well within his right to tell him to fuck off to Bayern Munich. And as far as I'm concerned, good on Pep. He knows he can replace it in 5 minutes. He couldn't do it in the January window, but I think Ake has been playing better than Cancelo. I think Rico Lewis has been playing better than Cancelo, and it's not a bad thing to let them grow. I think the biggest fuck-up for City was Zinchenko, but again, you can maybe replace him in due course. I think Zinchenko is a special type of player. That inverted fullback role that he plays, where he plays as like a midfielder and a fullback, is beautiful. He's such a great footballer, underrated footballer. I think he has like an 84% win ratio in the Premier League or something like that, which again is mad. And even when he plays for Arsenal, let me know if you agree, Arsenal fans, he just shows a completely different dynamic to the team. So City's window, just letting go Cancelo, I understand it's weird, but they never done anything else, so I'm just going to give them a 5 in the middle because it weren't really anything to judge. And then Spurs, Pedro Porro, João Felix's arch nemesis. For those who don't know the backstory, Pedro Porro and João Felix have mutually slept with the same girl. João Felix was actually with the girl at first, and yeah, now we're here. It's a weird one. It's so strange. Oh yeah, and Chelsea got João Felix. Fuck me, Chelsea, fair play. Tottenham, yeah, Pedro Porro, don't know anything about him, in all seriousness. There was, I swear, that Danjuma though. There was Danjuma as well, which I just remembered. For that reason, I'm going to give Spurs an 8. In fact, no, I'm going to give you a 7. You didn't need an attacker. At least I did. In fact, maybe unless Son is really, really shit now, then maybe you did. And I think Danjuma is the perfect acquisition to make. It's kind of funny how he fucked off Everton. And rightly so. I wouldn't be going anywhere near that club right now if I'm a player. Wouldn't go near that club anyway, because I'm a Liverpool fan. Anyway, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United. I feel like I've talked about all the main teams. Let me know what you think about the January transfer window for Liverpool. It was very underwhelming. And I think for the fact that Chelsea have technically been worse, but let's say that we're the worst team out of the top 6, and we've shown the least ambition. Make it make sense, Liverpool, please. But guys, please do smash a like on this video. I'm going to try and get more videos out soon. A little update. I'm kind of like transitioning between moving houses at the minute, and I'm going back to my part-time job just to make a little bit of extra cash. Meanwhile, still doing YouTube on the side as well. So it might not be every day, but every other day or so. Try and keep me to the standard of uploading. It's been difficult while I've been moving. I've had no Wi-Fi or anything like that. And now I've got a little bit of a better setup, I suppose. But anyway, thank you for watching. Leave a like, smash a dislike if you didn't like the video. Let me know why you didn't like it if that's the case. And much love to everyone. Peace out.